Hello everyone, Clay Frederick of the Horror Franchise, back at it with another ranking video. A few days ago I pretty much ranked the top 10 games that I mostly played. Let me just clarify this real quick. Those are not my favorite games of all time. Now, a majority of them, yes. But that doesn't make them my all-time favorites. Today, we're going to be ranking my top 10 favorite games of all time. And without further ado, let's get into it. Some of these here, you're probably going, holy shit, really? Really? But then there's others you're like, really? Okay. But at number 10, it's going to be a hot take already. But these are good. Let me go ahead and just say this real quick. Sorry, I know. The anticipation's killing you. These games either impacted me in an emotional level or just super addicting and incredibly fun, or they just plain and simply made an impact in my life. There you go. That's all there is to it. But number 10 is going to be Dino Crisis 3. Now, a majority of you probably don't even know what this game is. And a lot of you probably are like, really? This game sucks a dick. Well, let me tell you something right now. I understand where everybody's coming from with this game. Truly. As a hardcore Dino Crisis fan. Okay? Specifically the first two. Around in 2006, I got myself involved and started researching this game. And then for some reason, just the aesthetic, the designs of everything really clicked with me. The characters clicked with me. The futuristic nature of it, where it's involving dinosaurs in space, it sounds stupid as hell. But I dug it. I really dug it. And not to mention, I just think it was incredibly fun. Now, some aspects can be frustrating. Yes, the gameplay elements can be frustrating. It's repetitive as hell. But I loved this game back then, in my middle school days, and I still love the game today. Now, do I love it as much as I did back then? No, I don't, but it's definitely earning a 10 spot because it was impactful. It made an impact in my life back in the day, and it really just gave me a lot of ideas for movies and stuff. So, yes. So, we were all kids once. We all had wild imaginations, and this game influenced me in such a way that I really kind of experimented with my video camera before I even made my first fan film, Halloween, The Blood of Michael Myers. That has nothing to do with this video, but I'm just going to say it anyway because you're all familiar with my channel, and if you're watching this, then you know. There it is. But no, Dino Crisis 3, the game, was truly just really kickstarted that whole really start making films. And some of you may get where I'm coming from, some of you don't. But that's just how I am. Dino Crisis 3 made an impact in my life. It propelled me into something else. And I really loved it. And in comparison to the first two Dino Crisis, it's completely different. It has nothing to do with the first two. I mean, there is a hint that it definitely isn't the same universe. But we're like 500 years into the future here, so... But it is what it is. And I know it's a polarizing entry, and it's highly controversial, and is definitely hated by a lot of people. But I've always loved it. I've always loved it. And it just barely made the top 10 here. Now we get to the really good ones here. Number 9 is going to be The Last of Us. This one caught me by surprise. I've been hearing how good this game has been for years. And I got it in the spring of 2016. I remember when I first played it because me and my family got hit with a bug. Day one, after I started getting myself into this game, I got hit with the freaking flu, and my brother got ahead of me playing it because he was interested in it too. And, well, he beat it first, and he said it was the best game he's ever played. I finished it, and I was just like, okay, that was a really damn good game. Not only was it just a really damn good game, but it was literally one of the best games I've played. And it was very addicting when I played. I played it over and over and over, like 8 times in a row. I played this game 8 times in a row. I went through difficulties. I always start from the easiest mode, work my way to the harder modes. Hard mode was pretty much the difficulty that I stopped at. But even then, the story and the characters, the world of post-apocalyptic is fantastic. Just Joel and Ellie are fantastic protagonists in this game. There are a lot of other supporting characters in here. It goes from summer to fall to winter to spring, their journey across country. It's fantastic. If you haven't played this game and you're looking for something that's kind of post-apocalyptic survival horror kind of like, and deep character development and storytelling, this is the one for you. I'm telling you right now, it truly is phenomenal. And of course, a lot of people hate on the second one. I don't hate the second one. I really enjoy the second one for expanding in the world and the gameplay and such. Now, story, I prefer the first one, but still, whatever. We're not talking about the second one. I like the second one. I don't love it, though. The first one's better. Definitely. And I think it should have stopped with the first one. But it is what it is. No, Last of Us, one of those games that caught me by surprise at how damn good it is. So without I don't know what else I can say about it. It has a great ending, by the way. Fantastic ending. And it even has a very strong opening as well. And it maintains its course all the way to the end. So, there's that. Number 8. Life is Strange. Oh boy, did this one catch me by surprise as well. My brother got into a game called Horizon Zero Dawn, and he really liked the voice actress. And he started looking into other games, and he got his hands onto Life is Strange. And he played it. And I remember catching him when I came home from work, and I was like, what the hell is he playing? It looks interesting. So I finally got my hands on it, and by the second episode, and this is an episodic game, by the way, if you don't know what it is, but it's a role-playing game as well. It's about rewinding time and all that stuff. Talk about another game that has a deep story and fantastic characters. It has a fantastic story, and it is emotionally driven. It is emotionally powerful. It's a school game as well, about school students, college students, you name it, whatever. It's phenomenal. And it has one of my favorite characters of all time. One of my favorite video game characters of all time, Chloe Price. I adore this game. I absolutely adore it. It's a game that completely caught me out by surprise. And it was right around the corner when Friday the 13th came into my life as well. So it was in 2017 when I got my hands on this. Truly phenomenal game. It was easily into my top 10 list. Easily. It captivated me in such an emotional way that no game has ever done. And I kept playing it for like a month straight. And then I finally was like, all right, I gotta move on to something else. And it was also around the time when its prequel, Life is Strange Before the Storm, was coming out. So I was like, I got more Life is Strange coming my way after this. It was perfect timing. But no, this game is, if you like role-playing games and emotional storytelling and fantastic characters, this is your game right here. Number 7. The one that started my recluse days. The homebody days. Fallout 4. Talk about super addiction. Super. I was getting bored of everything I was playing, and I've been kind of in the mood to play a game where you can make your own character and build buildings and stuff. Well, I was told Fallout 4 was the one. I was like, okay. So I went to Walmart and got it. And it took me a week straight to really get a grasp on it. At first, I didn't really like it. But I kept playing. I was being very persistent with this game. And for a week straight, I was like, okay, before I press onto the story, before I press onto anything, I really need to get a grasp on how everything works in this game. And I just kept playing it. I kept playing it until I finally got the hang of it, and I propelled with everything I wanted to do. This is one of those games where you can do whatever you want in this open world, and fighting all this in a post-apocalyptic world, wasteland and all that. It is, without a doubt, probably the most addicted game I've ever played. Next to Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th. Definitely. But still. Fallout 4 easily is on the top 10. Because it was a game that truly just dug me more deeper into the gaming world. I was already a gamer already. I've always loved video games since I was a kid. But this game really just... I I was more outgoing. I was an extrovert before I was like, personal issues happened, life issues happened, and I was just like, you know what? Fuck the world. I'm just going to become a homebody. And Fallout 4 dug me into that. Some people may not agree with that decision I made, but you know what? It's my life. Get over it. Fallout 4 truly is fantastic. And to this day, it's still a fantastic game. Every once in a while, I pop it in and play it, but I get pretty bored easily. I've ran my course with it so much, I just don't even care. Still a phenomenal game. But man, those first few months in 2017, around the second quarter, all the way to the third quarter, it was, oh my god, talk about pure addiction. I couldn't get off of it. I went to work. And then I came home and played this. That was all I did. And some of my friends were thinking I was dead or something. I wasn't. I was playing Fallout 4. But no, truly. Just this game truly was and is still fantastic in every sense of the word. Now we get to number 6. Dead by Daylight. Yes. Dead by Daylight is in my top 10. For good reason as well. Because it's the second highest, most played hours in a video game I've ever played. And this game did have an impact on my life. More so negative than positive. But we're not going to get to that. I got into this game in May of 2021. And it was around those few months I played where things were really changing in my life. I quit my job. And then, well, I found a new job. So things were just changing around while I was playing this. And so much was put into this game, money-wise and hours-wise. There was so much you can do. There was so much grinding. It was the best grinding system I've ever seen in a game. The fact that you can bring licensed killers and survivors and such into this was the best part of the game, hands down. All these different rosters of survivors and killers. What other game can you literally pit Laurie Strode against Nemesis from Resident Evil? What game can you play where you have Rick Grimes and Jill Valentine working together against Michael Myers, or Pyramid Head, or Pinhead, or Albert Wesker, alongside with original characters and villains as well? Different maps, different cosmetics, other IPs. It truly is vast and huge. All horror fans at some point are probably going to be invested in this game, as I was. For a long time, when I was in my Friday the 13th days, I kept hearing about Dead by Daylight. I knew of it, but I always said, I'm never touching that game. I don't care. Friday the 13th is all I'm going to have. Well, boy, was I wrong. Eventually, I got bored of Friday the 13th. I still played it here and there, especially in the last couple of years of its lifespan. I got myself involved with Dead by Daylight through some friends, ex-friends. They don't matter. And I was like, okay. And what really dug me into it was Michael Myers and Laurie Strode were in it. In 2019 was the first time I've touched this game. And it only lasted a few days. I couldn't get a grasp on it. Couldn't get into it that much. It wasn't until May of 2021 where I reinstalled it, because it was the upcoming first Resident Evil chapter, where my favorite video game character of all time, Jill Valentine, my wife, my number one, my star, my queen, my everything, would be in it. Along with Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield, Chris Redfield, Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 Remake, and RPD as a map. I was truly invested. And it began from there. And to this day, I still play this game. I don't play it as much anymore. For good reason. Because as much as I love this game, I love everything that this game has to offer. Characters, cosmetics, the grind system, You have more reason to play this game. You have replayability big time. But the thing that really dumbs this game down, its game had potential, by the way, to be literally in the top 3. It could have been top 3. It could have been even my number 2 favorite. But the reason why it's not at that high of a level, why it's at least at number 6, in the middle, is because the community is god-awful. The community is super toxic. People get on here with the super entitlement and act like everything depends on this game and their lives depend on it, like they have to piss other people off intentionally. Whether it's intentional or not, people are like this. I have seen it through YouTube over the years. I have seen it. And I've endured it myself firsthand. There are people that take this game way too seriously and they act like they're better than everyone. From my experience, I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody. I'm just stating a bleeding fact. People are horrible in this community. Not everyone. Not everyone. There are some good people in this community, and I've seen it over the years. There are some really good people in here. There truly are. I've met some people that are actually pretty cool. But most of them, not so much. I'm not very a competitive person. I have a little bit of a competitive nature, but I'm more casual. I like to have fun. I make sure that I play as fair as possible, but then you have people who sweat their ass off for literally just for the sake of a win that gets you nowhere. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. It's a video game, guys. Relax. Still, with that being said, the game is fantastic. I've immersed myself with all the time and money and energy into it, and I still try to find a way to make peace with it, to tolerate the community, to try to be better. It's very hard to do, but that's just how it is. It won't matter in the future because I'm going to wind myself away from this game anyway because Halloween the game's coming out. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to put my energy into that game, and I'm going to leave Dead by Daylight at the end of, around the end of August, beginning of September. That's my plan. Still, I've invested too much time and money on it just to walk away. There were times I got pissed off at it. Yes, if you people have seen other videos, you have seen this. But I never backed down. I look back on it and go, that was stupid. It's a video game. Grow up. Get over it. Sure. But I did. I did that. And I go back with a better mindset. So I did. And I also don't play as much as I used to now. Because this game has a tendency to bring out the worst in humanity. I know for a fact. Because it did it to me. And that's why I don't play it as much anymore. And when I do play it now, I come in with an upbeat and positive attitude. So there's that. That's all I gotta say. I ranted too much about this game. I love the game, but I hate it at the same time because of the toxic community. And again, let me say this again. Not everyone in this community is horrible, but a vast majority are, and I think they all need to wake up and smell the coffee. But that's all I gotta say about that. Now, number 5. Resident Evil 5. My God, Resident Evil 5. Back in 2009. Not when it first came out, I didn't get it. But it was around summertime, right before I went to the beach. Because I got into the movies right after I got into this. Resident Evil 5 was my first official, legitimate Resident Evil experience that got me into the world of Resident Evil, and I expanded into the movies, into the games and such. When I think of Resident Evil, one of the games that come to mind is definitely Resident Evil 5, because it's the one that brought me into the world of Resident Evil 5, and it made me into a Resident Evil fan, and then later down the road, a hardcore Resident Evil fan, and it introduced me to my wife. So there's that. Jill Valentine is my number one, and that's because of Chris Redfield, my boy Chris, and his partner Jill. There you go. That's it. Resident Evil 5 truly was my favorite game of my high school era, and for a long time, it was, even after that. up until we get to my number one. I think everybody knows what my number one is, but still. Resident Evil 5 truly is, for the longest time, was my all-time favorite Resident Evil game, and for biased reasons. As I've already said, there were other games that came close to beating it, but still. And there was especially one that I thought would beat it, but it didn't, because there were flaws in it. I never thought that it would be dethroned by my number 4 spot. And that's going to be Resident Evil 4 Remake. Now, I really like the original game. I never loved it as much as a lot of people did. It was more of a respectful thing. I had a lot of respect for the original, truly. And I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's a really damn good game. I have frustrations with it, with certain aspects, but that's just me. That's me, not you. My opinion. But the remake came out, I remember when the remake was announced, and I was thinking, does it really need a remake? No. But will I take it? Hell yeah, I will. I got this game knowing that I would really like it. I would really enjoy it. Taking everything that was established before, improve upon it. I didn't think I would absolutely love this game. From here, Resident Evil, okay, let me go backtrack. From number 5 up to number 1, these games are pure 10 out of 10 to me. I forgot to mention that. Below that is a 9.5, close to being 10. But 5 on, 10 out of 10. Not a damn thing wrong with them, in my opinion. Resident Evil 5 is 10 out of 10 to me. Resident Evil 4 Remake is 10 out of 10 to me. There is nothing I can see that's wrong with Resident Evil 4 Remake. Now, hardcore Resident Evil OGs of the 4th one could point out and see the glaring flaws, which there isn't really a lot, because they literally... This game is truly faithful. Not 100% faithful, it's mostly faithful. It stays true to pretty much everything. The one thing I will say that the original improves upon is the villains, specifically Sadler and Salazar. I think they were a little bit better in the original, but I digress. Resident Evil 4 Remake, gameplay-wise, is peak gameplay. Fantastic. Cinematics, music, characters. Amazing. Amazing. I was blown away by this game. Blown away, and I played it over and over and over and over again. So much. And I just recently, this past month, I was playing the living shit out of it again, because this is one of those games, when I get my hands on it, I gotta play it more than once. Just like Resident Evil 5. When I play it, I gotta play it more. There are other Resident Evil games I'll play and be like, I gotta play more. I love Resident Evil. It's my favorite video game franchise ever. Hands down. But then we get to my next batch. Number 3, number 2 spot. Here it comes. Are you ready? These are my childhood games that I grew up with the most. These are the games that set the stage for my gaming world, period. Starting at number 3, Dino Crisis 2. Yeah, you already know what number 2 is. Dino Crisis 2, and my number 2 spot, might as well just say Dino Crisis 1. These two games, perfection. I loved dinosaurs growing up, but then I grew to like zombies a lot more through Resident Evil. I still like dinosaurs more. Who the hell doesn't? Come on now. Dinosaurs were awesome. And they were real. So there's that. No, Dino Crisis 1 and Dino Crisis 2. Truly my childhood experience. Hands down. You can make a case with Dino Crisis 3. As I've said before, it was during my middle school days. Right at the beginning of my middle school era. That Dino Crisis 3 was the one that carried it over. But Dino Crisis 1 and 2, those were my pure childhood experience. I remember the first time I saw anything about Dino Crisis. My dad played games when I was a kid. There were a couple of them in particular. But Dino Crisis 1, I remember that first Velociraptor encounter in the first game. And seeing him struggle against it. And I was like, ooh, what is this game? What is this? This looks cool. And I played. I remember me and my brother, we used to get in the mail with these demos. I don't know what it. I forgot what they were, but we would get this stuff in the mail where we would try out these demo discs with multiple games in them, and Dino Crisis was in there, and I remember playing those demos a lot, and I finally was like, I gotta get this game. I got it, and God Almighty, I loved every minute of it. Dino Crisis 1 and Dino Crisis 2 are my purest of childhood gaming experience. And then Resident Evil 5 came around and became my dominant high school era. So, Dino Crisis started it all. And for the longest time, they were my number one. Dino Crisis 1 particularly. If I were to pick one out of the two, it had to be the original. The original set the stage for me. Dino Crisis 2 is as equally as phenomenal as the first, if not better in certain aspects. But if I were to pick one, it's got to be the original, man, because it had that more survival horror aspect to it. Dino Crisis 2 goes more into the arcade action here, and it works. It works in this game. Not saying nothing bad about it. It's just epic. They're all epic. Even the third one, I love the third one for what it is. Even though it's at the bottom of the list of my top 10. Because there are other games that are better. But Dino Crisis 1 and 2, epic childhood era. Epic. You can make a case with Spyro and Crash Bandicoot and all that. But Dino Crisis was my jam. My jam. And even Resident Evil was around at the time. Dino Crisis is made by the same company that made Resident Evil. It's literally Resident Evil with dinosaurs. How the hell can you top that? Well, we're about to get to number one. The most surprising and most emotionally driven game changer of all time. Number one is Friday the 13th, the game. As you all know, for my channel, I have stated this multiple times. Friday the 13th, the game is the best game I've ever played in my life. It surprised me at how fantastic it is, how faithful to the IP of the series, the franchise as a whole, the music, the characters, the designs of Jason, the open world sandboxing, pretty much, not an open world sandbox, you know what I mean. The multiplayer. See, I wasn't into multiplayer games back in the day. It was always single player games. Friday the 13th changed that. When I got my hands on Friday the 13th, the game, I became more of an online multiplayer, asymmetrical player. Friday the 13th, the game, introduced me into a whole new world. I met a lot of people. Some good, a lot of them bad. Fake? Hell yeah. Good people? Absolutely. Everything I've stated about Dead by Daylight when it comes to communities and all that, it doesn't hold a candle to Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, the game, introduced me in such an impactful way into this world of online gaming. And when I think online gaming, I think of this game. I have had relationships. I've had a lot of friends. Some of them I still talk to this day. I have met people, so many people, through this game. And a lot of them are not around anymore because they've shown their true colors and tried to point fingers and blaming people like me for being the villain when really they're the villains. Well, there's the people that are on my corner, they're still in my life because they realize the truth. Over the years, I have shown that I'm a very honest person and I don't cause drama. I stay away from it as best as I can, even though it always creeps up on me and catches up. Usually I'm not the bad guy in the scenario. I'm the guy that tries to fix the problem, but usually that always makes it worse, so I don't even bother anymore. I'm getting a little bit too personal here, I'm sorry, but I want you to understand why this is my number one. It was like we were there, all of us, the friends that I have, it's like we were actually there on the campgrounds at Crystal Lake. Jason stalking us. We've had a lot of scares. I've definitely been jump scared by people, especially a couple of them in mind. And truly just just phenomenal. This game changed everything for me. Everything. And I don't think a game's going to do that again. I hope Halloween the game will do that, because it looks like a spiritual successor to Friday the 13th the game. And as you all know, wrong one, wrong sleeve. I'm more of a Michael Myers Halloween fan than Friday the 13th and Jason. Now, I love Jason. I love Friday the 13th. And another thing I want to point out is that this game made me an even bigger Friday the 13th fan, and I was already a big Friday the 13th fan, so. But no, Jason's my second favorite horror villain. Friday the 13th is my second favorite horror franchise. And Halloween is my GOAT. Michael Myers is my OG. He's my number one. Here he is, right there. And Friday the 13th has paved the way for that door to be opened. Ever since this game came around my life, I was thinking at the back of my head, one of these days, I hope they make a game just like this, but with Michael Myers set in Haddonfield on Halloween night. And guess what? When all hope seemed to be lost, right when the server, last year, in the beginning of 2025, and I know the exact date the servers shut down, at 12:07 a.m., January 1st, 2025. It was a sad night. We cried, we laughed, we shared memories, and we struggled to find something that could definitely be a good substitute. Dead by Daylight, of course, is that substitute. It doesn't hold a candle to Friday the 13th. But I remember in August 20th last year, Halloween the game was announced. Just when all hope seemed to be lost, and I completely forgotten. And I just lost all hope for that. It was announced. And here we are. The road to that game is here. And because of that game's announcement, I'm doing stuff like this. And I wanted to share that with you guys. Because Friday the 13th, the game, paved the way for that. It started that road. And I hope Halloween sets the bar at least just as good as Friday the 13th. It hopefully exceeds it in such a big way for me. Because I'm biased. I'm a hardcore Halloween fan. I'm a bigger Halloween fan. I'm more of a Michael Myers fan than Jason. And Friday the 13th managed to be my number one. If Halloween can do it, I'll be happy and I'll die happier. So there's that. There's that. And it's the most excited I've been for a game in a long time too. But that's all I got to say for you guys. This is my top 10 list of favorite video games of all time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. And have a good one.